What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 29 of Gotta Watch 'Em All. I am one of your hosts, Ken Pescatore, joined by my co-host, Adam Tuttle. Adam, what's going on? How are you?
Dude, everything's going on. There's so much to talk about.
There is. It's been
Sparks
busy.
are flying.
So we're recording this on September 10th, 2017, Sunday. So what's going on, man? How's your week been? What have you been up to?
Well, first off, if things go south, I was the one writing the notes, so, I mean, I took a polywhirl at it, so hopefully everything goes all right.
So Adam took on writing the show notes, so it was awesome. I loved reading reading the doc what you had wrote. So we're gonna switch up a little styly today. I didn't have too much time to play Pokemon Go this week, unfortunately. And if you guys didn't check it out already, we released a special edition podcast last week called Lured Up. It was a Pokemon Go focused podcast. We kind of did like an episode 1. We had the guys from Pokemon Go Radio on. Salt and Nar, if you're listening, thanks so much again for coming on. It was a really good time. I encourage everyone to check out their podcast, Pokemon Go Radio. They're on social media and stuff, so check them out. So what we're going to do is we'll go through our normal Pokemon Go talk where we're just kind of bantering back and forth for a couple minutes, but we'll be doing episode 2 of Lured Up on October 10th, 2017, and we're going to have the guys from Pokemon Go Cast on. So we're kind of covering all the bases now. We had Pokemon Go Radio, and now we're going to have the Go Cast on. We're shooting for the following month to have Pokemon Go Podcast guys on. So got this whole thing going on right now. It's been a lot of fun. So keep a lookout for that. But
Ken.
Yes.
They're calling us out. I mean, they didn't actually call us out, but we got to be ready for this. We gotta come up with something.
So if you haven't been following what's going on with this trifecta of Pokemon Go podcasts that are out there, is they're kind of engaged in this ridiculous rap battle, and they produce some like really awesome raps, just kind of lighting each other up, and they're very well produced, and we may have to get up in there.
Yeah, I have my work cut out for me. Hashtag Pokemon Podcast Rap Battle 2K17.
Dude, it's so fun, man. These guys crack me up, and yeah, it's gonna be. We may have to enter the foray, but
yeah, they were joking about Rural Earl and like my middle name's Earl, which is like already embarrassing. But I'm rural, so like I'm a rural player.
You're
Were
rural,
they talking
Earl.
about me? Are they calling me out? They singled me out, man.
I'm actually pretty excited to talk to Spoofbot 2020. He's my boy.
Beep boop, beep boop.
Dude, it's so funny. Like, it's a cast of characters on GoCast, so keep a lookout for that coming in a couple weeks, and Melissa will be back on for that episode as well.
Ken, EX raid passes have been spotted.
All right, so EX raid passes have hit the ground for the field beta test that started on September 6th, so a couple days ago.
Did you see any?
No, there's nothing going on here in Jersey. They kept it exceptionally limited. They had, one spot in Japan, and then they did a San Francisco and Seattle raid tests, because these are the areas that have the Niantic offices. So they did it local to all their their satellite offices.
Come on, East Coast represent.
Dude, I don't know if you saw the footage of the Japan raid. Did you check out that? Did you see the actual footage that like Mystic and Reversal were putting in their videos of this Japanese?
No, I have yet to see that.
It's the greatest thing ever. So Mystic is explaining like how hard they go in Japan for raiding, and the people that are covering the event, like the actual Mewtwo event, they set up a streaming booth at the physical raid. So they have a backdrop, they have a desk, they have laptops in front of them with their phones, and they're battling the raid streaming. And it looks like, in a studio. It's the greatest.
Oh, no. I saw that. I thought you meant like the newest ones that just came out.
Oh, no. No, the first one, and then it ended up running on them.
His friend catch him?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh no. And those are like mostly excellent throws.
Yeah.
Golden Raz.
So the EX raid passes, the way that this beta test rolled out was, if you had successfully completed the raid battle at that gym within 24 hours. So, the one trainer, Brosif 23, he had posted the screen grab of his EX pass and kind of, did a little Q&A on Reddit and was explaining that, he had did a bunch of raids that previous day, but, that was the one and only time that he completed that raid at this specific gym where the EX raid was taking place. So, he received that invitation, and we don't know how many invites are going to be going out. Everything is still up in the air, but the exciting thing is that they are using Mewtwo. Mewtwo is here, and people are now in the US have Mewtwo in their decks, which, just a couple of days ago wasn't a thing. So I don't know. How do you think they're going to change this? Do you think with, once they leave this beta stage and they do a worldwide release of these EX raids, what do you think that time window? I think that's the big question everyone has. The time window between how recently you have had to complete a raid at that gym to get that EX pass. How long do you think it's going to be?
I think 2 days, right? Or did they say a week? I mean,
they've only said like soon or recently or, things like that. They've been very vague. So the beta test was 24 hours. I would think that it would have to be a minimum of 48 hours, minimum. And if they're going to give you a 2-day heads up on the raid, maybe that they should keep that consistent with a 2-day ticker. That might be a good thing. Do you do a raid every day? Like, how's your schedule work out?
Dude, my schedule is like, if I can get one, I get one. If I'm before work, even if it puts me at like, a minute or two late, I'll stop for a croc gnaw,
Right, just to knock it out. See, I would struggle with that 48-hour window because, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are tough for me to raid because I'm working so much. So, I'm probably only going to be able to do these raids towards the end of the week. And, if I'm getting a 2-day heads up, it might be a little bit easier for me to schedule things, but I'm excited. I've got my Gengar going. I've got a Tyranitar that I switched over to Bite Crunch. I've got a Houndour with Snarl and Foul Play, or Houndoom with Snarl and Foul Play. So, I've got my team ready for Mewtwo. It's just like, bring it on.
I'm still powering up my my Umbreon. I have a 98% that I just evolved. He's only like 1200. He's not that great, but I'm trying.
Hey,
it's just I'm using all my candy and my dust, or all my rare candies and my dust for Lugia.
Yeah.
And I'm running out fast.
Well, it's brutal now with, since everything got nerfed, all the rewards got nerfed for raids. It's,
dude, I'm walking with it, and I've walked like 10 kilometers, and I have another 10 to go.
Yes, it's brutal.
I am not a happy camper.
Well, that's what makes, if you have the rare candy, you have to use it on legendaries, because walking at 20k per candy is just so incredibly impractical. Like, that's nuts.
Yes.
It's crazy, but I hit some Raikou raids today. I was out for a couple hours, and I think I went 3 for 4 today with Raikou. So I picked up a couple more, including one that's 96%. So I'm really pretty excited about that, but still no perfect. But I'm really happy that I was able to grab a couple more, and we still have 20 days left. How many are you up to now? Have you been hitting the raids?
I'm at 3 that I've caught out of 5.
Oh, so that's a good percentage.
Well, the first one I really wasn't I was just more scared of trying to catch it. And my phone, I'm in the sun and I couldn't really see. So, I touched a ball and it dropped and I'm like, great.
Man, you sound like some of these YouTubers.
Yeah, I know. Right?
My screen is wet.
No, seriously. I don't know what's wrong with it, but for the most part, it's good. It's just been acting up recently.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get Suicune next, so I could actually put some of these Raikous to work.
So he could.
No. Suicune. But we'll see who's coming up next, and hopefully it'll be Suicune. But still got 20 days, almost 3 weeks still left on Raikou, and it's like, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on already. I've got 7 or 8 of them now, so it's like, I'm good. Now it's just a hunt for the 100%, I guess.
Yeah.
Whether I get a crappy one or 100%, I'm still going to play through the raid and catch it with the same degree of,
intensity
and fervor, it's all the same, but.
Oh no, I yelled when I got the 100% Lugia, I yelled out the car window. I'm like, is 2056, is that 100%?
Yes!
Like, yes. And I'm just like, okay, Pineapple Berry. Or no, Nana Berry, Curveball. I got great or a nice. And I'm like, oh, I caught it.
I go Golden Raz every time, no matter what. I don't do any of the superstitious.
Dude, I don't get enough. I don't have
Nanab.
enough. I have one Golden Raspberry left in my box.
Oh, that's brutal. That's rough. Yeah, see, I think I'm sitting on like 80 or something like that.
Can you share?
Rough. No. Hey, man, I wish that would be part of the trading system, like where you can kind of move items around too. I think that'd be pretty cool. Now that you mention it, I want more.
All right, at this moment, we'll take a pause for a haiku for Raikou. Lightning Thundercat, or Legendary Dog Beast. Sparks fly, Thunderbolt.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I feel so serene as I balance some stones in the waterfall. Chilling with Raikou.
Hanging out with your Geodudes.
Yes.
They're a lowland because they're lightning type, you know?
Yes. Ah, yeah.
All right, Pokemon Go Hub error codes and their meanings.
Okay, so this was really cool. With the latest update, now they're giving us more information whenever there's some kind of error or issue with the game. Where before we would get, the red bar of death at the top of the screen that would just say error. Now we're getting a little bit more information, and Pokemon Go Hub has put together a nice database that details as much as we possibly know about each of these numbered error codes. So you have error code 5, error code 7, error code 25. And if on this list they give you kind of a breakdown of exactly what each of these error codes mean, and it's pretty cool on some of them because it's pretty detailed, but you can kind of see how to fix the error or reset the error on this page as well. So we'll put the link to in the description, but it's definitely worth checking out. And if you see other errors with different numbers, and you can kind of shoot them a message on Twitter or something about what you've experienced, what you've seen, so they can kind of flesh out this database more, because I think this is a really cool resource. Have you seen some of these codes in the real world?
I usually see 11. That's I think that's the GPS signal. And then I've seen 26 a whole bunch of times. I look on the page and it's it's a general code.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help me.
Oh yeah, GPS signal not found. Yeah, I get that a lot. I can get that in the weird dead zones and stuff like that. Even if I'm outside, sometimes I'll see that. But I don't know.
I get it in perfect service places. I don't understand it. I could have full bars. I have no idea where you are.
I actually went to a raid today where it was a complete sprint dead zone. So Melissa, Josh, and I just could not connect. And I couldn't get anything. And I was trying to communicate with the people through the Facebook chat, and I couldn't even connect to Facebook. I had absolutely no data connection at all. And we got there, and luckily one of the guys had a hotspot. So all three of us were able to jump onto the hotspot, which was fantastic. And, we had perfect service, but his
battery was save me.
I know. But it was a complete and total dead zone. And it's just man, this is, it's just a crazy, I just don't like that feeling where you're man, you get so mad at the game, you start yelling at the phone, load, God darn it. So it's cool to see what the descriptions of these errors are. And, it's cool seeing, just getting a little bit more information on what the heck is going wrong in the game, when it happens. I see a lot of the Go Plus errors a lot where, I'll try to initiate a capture screen on a Pokemon that the Go Plus is already, scanned. And the Go Plus, as soon as you initiate to catch a Pokemon, it already decides, even though you have to wait for the 3 vibration pattern on the Go Plus before it gives you the, what's happening if you caught it or not. The Go Plus knows right away. So you get these error messages immediately if you try to touch one that the Go Plus is already scanned. But I see that all the time. I think it's error code 25 or something like that. But cool list. Check it out. It's a handy resource. They put some more information out about the European Safari zones. And this is pretty cool. They gave pretty specific details. So the ones that were originally booked for the Germany, France, and Spain, those dates were still staying. They start on September 16th, but now they released dates for the October ones that were postponed after Go Fest because of, I guess they were being a little bit more precautious. But October 7th and October 14th, they have the Denmark, Czech Republic, Sweden, and Netherlands events, Safari zones going on. And what they're claiming now for these Safari zones is Kangaskhan spawns. That'll be the regional change. And then you have increased spawns of Pokemon like Chansey and Larvitar, which is cool, but then higher occurrence of shiny Pikachu and shiny Magikarp and various forms of unknown. So they're
Did you say higher increased chances of getting a shiny Pikachu?
Increased chances. It says trainers in the area may even spot shiny Pikachu, shiny Magikarp, and various forms of unknown. So
what?
During the Japan event with Pokemon Stadium, the shinies were everywhere. I think YouTuber Pope Dave, left Japan with 6 shiny Pikachu, which is absolutely crazy. And
insanity.
If they bring that to these events, that's cool. It's a good way to reward them. Now, if you remember back when GoFest tickets went on sale and they had 15,000 tickets or something like that they were going to sell, they sold out in, 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. When the Safari Zone tickets went on sale, they went in 2 minutes, which was like an all-time record or something crazy.
It's unreal. Faster than GoFest?
But what's cool is Niantic responded and said that they were going to extend some of the core stuff that's happening inside the event outside into the city, kind of like what they did with Chicago after GoFest, where, even if you didn't have the QR code, you could still enjoy the spawns and things like that, that were all going on outside in the city. So they're kind of making it up, to the people that couldn't get tickets because, if something's selling out in 2 minutes, it's just a roll of the dice at that point. If you can get in or not, it's going to be, you're basing it on your connection speed at that point. Like how fast are you pinging that you could like refresh the page and get in time. But should be interesting. These are cool events, and they're happening indoors, which is interesting. Safari Zone you'd think it's the big open outdoor areas, but these are happening indoors. But hopefully it'll boost the economy in these areas, and they can see the power of Pokemon Go and to bring money into different geographic regions. It's worked for Japan, it's worked for Chicago, so I think that needs to be that should keep on going because that's a positive thing to promote the game.
I know. I'm so excited for our event, the one on the 28th.
Yes. So, Philly Free Streets is happening on the 28th of October. And, Reversal actually put a post up that he was planning a trip in October, kept it vague like that. So, if he comes out, to chill with, Pokemon Master Holly, and, we get a chance to raid with them, I'd be super ecstatic. I think that'd be darn right awesome. But enough about Pokemon Go. Again, if you want to hear more dedicated Pokemon Go content, I could talk about it for days. Definitely keep a lookout for Lured Up. It's going to be on the same feed, so make sure you check those out. And, we'll hear more focused Pokemon Go content, but I can go on for days and days and days about it. But let's move on. The movie, I Choose You trailer hit European shores. So we get it because it's dubbed in English. They haven't given us information on when it's going to be coming out in the States, but it's made its way from Japan over to the UK, and, even the US Pokemon Twitter accounts, kind of retweeted the UK, but it's the trailer, or a teaser trailer for the I Choose You movie, which is the retelling of the Indigo League anime.
How Ash Met Pikachu.
And that's how they're kind of, making it out to be like a complete retelling of the story, and that's what this movie is going to be about, the complete origin story of the relationship between Ash and Pikachu, and it looks awesome. What do you think of the trailer? It's a teaser, but, there's some good stuff in there.
I swear if this is in theaters, I'm going day one. If there's a midnight release, go into it.
Yeah, heck yeah. So this
is Thursday night, sorry.
Yeah, that's how they pack in the weekends now. But what I really dig about this is they're also doing a Ash Hat Pikachu distribution for Sun and Moon, but they're giving the people options to get all these. I think there's 6 or 7 different versions of the Ash Hat Pikachu wearing the different hats from all the different generations. And depending on which week you redeem the code, that'll be, decide what Ash Hat Pikachu you get. I thought that was pretty clever. And then they also say that if you go to the in theaters to see the movie, you're going to get a never before seen Pokemon TCG card. Maybe it's something like Ancient Mew from back in the day, which was absolutely awesome.
See, that's what I want. I mean, it has to be, because, they put a lot of emphasis in Ho-Oh in the trailer. So right. I'm thinking that it's probably Ho-Oh. Maybe not a good one, but, I think that's what it's going to be.
If it's for free, it's for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's
exactly.
If it comes to theaters, I'm going to go see it anyway. And if I can get some TCG cards out of the deal, that's awesome. I'm very excited about that.
And we get a special Ash's Hat Pikachu in our copy of Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon.
Yes, and then they're also bringing that forward to the Ultra games, which I thought was cool. You had actually brought up a good point with the whole Ho-Oh thing. Like, maybe they tie in some kind of release of Ho-Oh in Pokemon Go to the movie.
Yeah.
That might be a good tie-in.
They end at October 31st and start November 1st, just at least announcing it. And then they have the other 11 days to, get it ready to be an EX raid.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool planning on their part. I haven't been to the movie theater to see a Pokemon movie in a long time, and
I Choose You hype.
Yes, I Choose You hype. I'm definitely going to be there if it comes to theaters, and I can't imagine them pushing the trailer over and then actually sharing it with the US if it's not ultimately going to be coming to theaters here. So I think it would do well. I think compared to some of the other cartoon movies, the animated movies that hit theaters, I think this has a strong shot at bringing in a good return in the States, but we'll see there. Moving over to PokemonCenter.com, a lot of new stuff out this week. There's been we took the last week off of talking about Pokemon Center releases for Lured Up, but there's a lot of new stuff, a lot of new plushes, a lot of new pins, blister packs, whole bunch of stuff going on at Pokemon Center. What do you like out of the new stuff?
I like both a lot Lycanroc forms, but there's also a new Oddish and a Rowlet, which are like really round, but I really want the Midnight form Lycanroc.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks very, very cool. And again, we were talking about it 2 weeks ago. They're making these plushes, and they almost look like action figures. Like, it's really cool.
That's what I thought they were when I first was looking at it. I'm like, wow, that's a figure. And it says plush. Like,
so cool. And they're decently sized. These are like, the Incineroar is 14 inches, and it looks like it could be an action figure. It has detailed fingers and arms, and like it's very well proportioned. Like, it doesn't look like your typical plushie, which I thought was very cool. And then on the flip side, you have something like the Rowlet, which is pretty much just a sphere of cuddly, snuggly goodness.
It's just a pillow.
It's
just a pillow. That's what it is.
And the same thing with the Oddish, and they call them squishy plushes, those two, the Oddish and the Rowlet, because they probably have a super soft loft on the inside or something like that.
Or memory foam or something.
Right. But the Oddish is awesome.
For those with chronic back pain.
Yeah. I have the large Ditto plush that's like, I think it's 23 inches or something like that. And it makes for the absolute perfect pillow.
That's awesome.
The best, yes.
Speaking of Ditto, I've literally caught, in my week of working, and just until today, I've caught probably like 8 or 9 Dittos.
What?
In Pokemon Go.
Melissa has been saying all the time, every time she catches any of like the the possible Pokemon that change, and she's like, man, I want another Ditto, and she's caught none. And the same thing for me. I've been actually catching them again lately, so I wonder if there's some kind of increase in their spawn rate, because I definitely have seen them. And it took, when they first came out, they were everywhere, and then it kind of quieted down for a while, and now I've been seeing them a lot lately, so maybe they're bringing something back.
Well, wasn't there something in the code for his like attacks, or like how he performs in the game?
Yeah, I think there was something. Something had changed. Remember, they used his Japanese name or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what that
It's something to note, just mark this moment in history.
Yes.
Where something's up with Ditto.
But yeah, lots of new plushes on Pokemon Center. As always, we'll put the link in the description.
There's 2 new blister packs.
2 new blisters.
With older sets, but they come with a Mega Scissor pin or a Mega Alakazam pin.
So, will pins sell you on this kind of thing? Will you buy a blister pack because it comes with a pin?
No.
I don't think so either. I mean, it's just not, maybe if they were current boosters.
Boosters, I would be sold. But, like, I bought the Tapu Koko.
But there was newer boosters in there. Those were Sun and Moon forward boosters, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, I like the pins. I think the mega pins are awesome, but you're paying $3 for the pin, pretty much. If you call it a $4 booster price, you're going to pay $3 for the pin. Is it worth it? Probably, but not with older boosters. I don't know. The excitement is gone. Has come.
Yeah, especially because you can't. I don't know. It's hard to trade them in a league setting because people know they've rotated. So it's like, I don't need it. I want it. I don't need it. Like they need, 4 Guzmas.
Let's talk about the new TCG stuff for this week. You were talking about how the rotation is finally in, the
2017/18 rotation is finally in effect as of September 1st, meaning that XY Breakthrough set and on to Sun and Moon Burning Shadows is in format, and that's changed the way we play a little bit. New strategies is with like Guzma replacing Lysander, but it's also like a switch for yourself. So making a lot of things that would get stuck in the active, you basically have a free retreat and a Lysander all on the same card. So I don't know. It's forced the way we play the game. So you can't have 4 VS Seekers anymore. So you can't have one of supporters. I mean, you can, but you only have one of that supporter, and there's no real way to get that back because Verse Seeker's been rotated. Lysander's been rotated, so everyone switched to Guzma. The typical...
Hold on a second. My head is going to explode. Hold on. Oh, okay. It exploded. It exploded with information.
The shrapnel got me.
So wait, let me break it down in layman's terms. So on Pokemon.com, and I'll put the link in the description, how Guzma has come up as one of the more popular and relevant cards and was replacing Lysander. And you're saying for that exact reason, right? With the Guzma, you're getting the added benefit of, is it the retreat?
Yes.
Yeah, so on Pokemon.com, the way they explain it is, they say Guzma to replace Lysander almost entirely. Players prefer the flexibility that Guzma provides. It can work both as a way to bounce an opponent's tough Pokemon back to their bench and as a convenient method for switching out your own Pokemon. A few players were still running Lysander, but even then, Guzma was often included in the same deck. So we're seeing this transition from Lysander to Guzma because you're getting all the benefit of Lysander plus added benefits that only Guzma is going to give you. So brand new cards that are showing, prominence in championship level decks. You gotta move up and move out and keep up with the times because stuff is changing constantly. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that it's, it keeps the meta clean and fresh and kind of forces everyone along and keeps you current.
Yeah. And so with the VS Seekers being gone, that leaves you with 4 new spots for supporters, or essentially like consistency cards. So typical decks are going to have 4 Professor Sycamores, 4 Ends, as far as those being the most efficient and most consistent draw cards in the format. And then with Guzma, you're going to want to play 2, 3, 4 copies because you can't just get it back or use it whenever you want because VS Seeker's been rotated. And now Acerola is a really good card too. You definitely want 1 or 2 of those. The card reads, if there's damage on one of your Pokemon, you scoop it up and all cards attached to it. So you can get it out of the active, bring up something fresh, use the tool that was on it, use the energy that was on the last Pokemon.
Right.
It's better than the card we had like previous rotation before this was AZ. It said, bring up that Pokemon and all the evolutions underneath it, but discard all the items and energies attached to it.
So now you get that same benefit, but you get to keep all the stuff.
Right.
Nice. And these cards, like that you're talking about, the Professor Sycamore and the Guzma, they can kind of be very flexible where no matter what kind of deck you're running, for the most part, you're going to get the benefit of having these cards in that deck.
And the decks that like survive rotation still, Greninja's a good example, but Volcanion, Metagross, Alolan Ninetales, Golisopod, Gardevoir, the Trashalanche Garbodor, and then now the new Weavile. It's not necessarily new, but it's been getting a lot of attention. And it, for 1 colorless energy, the stage 1 Pokemon, 1 colorless energy does 60 damage to everything with an ability, which is huge because that sets everything pretty much in for 1-shot range. Everybody's playing Tapu Lele. That puts it down to 110. So that's the only damage you're responsible for. Like, I can easily get to that.
Awesome and interesting. It's so cool, digging in deep to how all this stuff works and how these cards interact with it, with each other it's so complex. It's such an awesome game. I gotta get my butt in gear. I need a deck. I need a serious deck. So
Lycanroc is really good. I still really enjoy Lycanroc. There's a new Midnight form that came out in the Burning Shadows.
Right.
For 1 fighting energy, it does 30 damage. If it's a basic, it does 30 additional damage. And then for a fighting energy and a double colorless, it does corner for 90. And then your opponent's Pokemon can't retreat. So their only option is Guzma, switch, an ability or something like that. They can't just discard energies to retreat or attach a float stone and free retreat.
You know your stuff, man. You know your stuff. You're the source.
This game is fun.
And then finally, before we get into the episode, they did release a new Global Link tournament. It's the Mega Melee Challenge, which is pretty cool. It is just for Mega Evolution Pokemon to compete, and that's always fun. This is going to get you 50 battle points, I believe, for all participants. So I think you just have to do 1 battle and you get the 50 points. But the registration period is next Thursday, September 14th, and then the competition itself starts on September 22nd. So if you want to get involved with the Sun and Moon tournament this month, check out the Mega Melee. I'll put the link in the description. Cool
Sounds
opportunity.
Like fun.
Yeah, Mega Charizard, man. Can't go wrong. And they show Mega Gardevoir. They show like a lot of cool Pokemon in the image, but Mega Evolutions are just neat. They're just cool. They're just fun. All right, let's talk about this episode. It is called Sparks Fly for Magnemite. The original air date in the U.S. was October 16th, 1998. And this was a cool episode. I really liked it. I'm not going to give too much away before we actually get through the nuts and bolts of it, but I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. And it's interesting how this episode kind of plays into the story arc of where we are in Ash's journey. And we're kind of
because we still have no idea.
Yeah, we still don't know
where
they're going exactly. And the episode starts off with them arriving at a new place. The narrator kind of comes on, and they're entering this area that kind of looks like my hometown of Elizabeth, New Jersey.
It's grungy city, right?
So they're in Gringy City.
No.
Okay. A grungy city, Gringy City. But the narrator comes on and is like saying how this used to be, a nice place, but industry kind of took over. And Misty even points out that the whole place just looks polluted. There's all these smokestacks. The skies are completely covered in like black smut clouds, and the water is just completely sludged up and really gross. It's nasty.
Like few people live here, and it's like, okay, I wonder why. It looks disgusting. I wouldn't even visit there.
Yeah, it's totally gross. And then they make it pretty clear on the episode that the story arc of this episode is going to kind of wrap around the environmental impact of this industrial kind of wasteland that they've just kind of stumbled on. And again, we didn't even know where they were going last week. When they left last episode, we didn't know where they were going. So they just kind of stumble along into this town. And the second they kind of cross into the border, Pikachu starts acting up a little bit, and you can see something is going on with Pikachu. He gets this big red mark across his face. You see these little, he's emanating little sparks off his red cheeks. He looks real hunched over, and you can tell that he's not feeling well at all. And, Ash kind of notices it's like, whoa, Pikachu, like, what the heck is going on? It's interesting that the second they walk into this industrial town that's all gloomy and has no color in it at all, it's just nasty brown sludge color. And then you have poor Pikachu who's immediately affected by this environment where something isn't right. And then they cut over to Team Rocket, who they introduced really early in the episode here. And you see this periscope action kind of thing going on where Meowth is spying on Pokemon, of course.
From the sewer drains.
From the sewers, which is really funny. But he's in this little, like, Team Rocket spaceship saucer. It reminds me of Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's what I was thinking.
It's like this little control unit.
Even the music in the background, it's like... Dun, dun, dun,
it's like Pink Panther music.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, what am I watching right now?
But the greatest part about this scene is, they're in the sewer, and Meowth, for whatever reason in this episode, Meowth is kind of wearing the pants in the relationship here, and he's like bossing Jesse and James around, and he's got this cool little spaceship to boot. But the interesting thing is, he goes, they start doing their motto, like right away, and this is only a couple minutes into the episode, and they can't even finish the motto because they start realizing that they're standing in a sewer, and the smell is just so bad. And Meowth's like, look, just put on the suits that I gave you, and they put on these like full scuba hazmat looking suits, and he hooks them up to a generator that's pumping them filled with fragrant fresh air.
Yeah, like air fresheners. I'm like, what?
And, Meowth's plan is to go through the sewer. So they're going to go in these scuba suits, get under the water level in the sewer, which is really foul, and swim their way to the Pokemon Center and come up through the sewage. And that's how they're going to break in. So that's the mischievous plot that's going on with Team Rocket. Now, poor Pikachu is so banged up at this point and so drawed out, like he has no energy, that he like almost falls over, and Ash tries to catch him, and Ash ends up getting completely shocked. Just with poor little Pikachu just completely passing out. And next thing you know, they show Ash running to the Pokemon Center, and he's wearing like dishwashers rubber gloves. He's wearing like these rubber
They're
gloves.
Super bright pink.
Yeah, it's super bright pink for whatever reason, and he's just booking it to the Pokemon Center because Pikachu is in real bad shape. And
so, of course, they get there, and Nurse Joy isn't there to greet them, and they're just like, hello?
Ash gets all mad. He starts ringing the bell. He's like, hello?
And then she comes out yawning, and she's like, you guys should be sleeping. It's really late. And Ash, cares about Pikachu. And he's like, are you by any chance the oddball of your sisters? Or your cousins or whatever? Because, they were more helpful. And she's just like,
yeah,
I don't want to help
Nurse
you guys.
Joy is like super apathetic. Like she just doesn't want to be bothered, and she's like you said, she comes out yawning. And she's like, everything's gonna be fine. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, just leave Pikachu here. He'll be fine.
And Ash is like, no way, look at Pikachu, look at him. He's in bad shape. And she just like, as she's yawning, she's like, he's got a cold. Just leave him here. There's little frizzle sparks coming out of his cheeks. That's just a symptom of a cold. Everything will be fine. And Ash doesn't really want to hear it, but he could trust her because she is Nurse Joy. It is an official Pokemon Center. But you could tell that he doesn't necessarily feel 100% about leaving Pikachu there. But
yeah, he's having second thoughts.
But he decides to. He decides that that's going to be the best course of action.
And then it cuts to the Grimers popping out of the polluted, disgusting brown water.
It's like sludge.
Yeah, like the tentacle style from that one episode way back when.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of Grimer. Like, it's not one or two. It's like, it's a whole posse.
And they just group up to block the water to, like, the water generator. Yeah, it just shuts everything down.
Yeah, it's like a hydroelectric power plant. So the water is going in through this grate, on the side of their little reservoir or whatever they have there. And the water that's rushing through this tunnel would then power a turbine. That's how the generator works. So the Grimers literally plug up this grate with their, nastiness. And it blocks off the flow of the water. And we don't know why this is happening or what they're doing, but the fact of the matter is this pretty much powers down the entire city. And this is all happening kind of simultaneously with Ash arriving at the Pokemon Center, as well as Jesse and James now, scuba diving in sewage.
Yeah, because it cuts
to a
them.
respirator.
It cuts to the Team Rocket, and they're just like, they're swimming through the pipe or whatnot, and then they just start losing oxygen.
This is like my air. And dude, the voice acting for James in this episode is so on point. He just has a very high pitched kind of whine to his voice in this episode, and it's so awesome.
Everything he says,
it's so awesome. He's so overly dramatic. I 10 points for voice acting on James in this episode.
And then it immediately cuts from that to the ICU wing of the Pokemon Center.
Yeah, it's a big ICU wing. It's like, this is a special care unit, and it's a huge room filled with tons of Pokemon, like, on life support. Ash starts panicking. He's like, whoa, what's going to happen to all these Pokemon? Nurse Joy's like, I don't even want to think about it. If the power doesn't come on, we're going to lose all these Pokemon. And now this is an interesting part for me, because when this is happening, Ash actually calls out that these Pokemon are at risk of dying. And I think this might be one of the first times in the series where they actually talk about death, other than the Charmander episode when they were worried about his tail going out when he was out in the rain. They said, yeah, Charmander could die. But this was like a serious thing where they're like, look, the lives of all of these Pokemon that are in this ICU area, they're all in danger, and they could all die. So immediately Ash snaps into gear and says, look, we have to figure this out. And Misty even starts ripping into Nurse Joy, like, what are you going to do about this? And Brock stands up for her. He goes, there's nothing she could do. Like, there's no power. You can't blame her. And Nurse Joy gives the hint of like, look, you guys need to go to the power plant if you want to figure this out. And you can't miss it. It's the big building with the smokestacks, and they point at it. And that's when, they decide to leave Pikachu with Nurse Joy because Pikachu's shot out right now. And they book it on their way to the power plant because obviously they got to get to the root of the problem. Yes, they're on point. I like this part and I don't like this part. As they're creeping up to the power plant, they see some bushes rustling around, and Pikachu comes out of the bushes all banged up still.
And topples over.
And he's all upset, and he left the Pokemon Center. And Ash is like, what are you doing here? You should be back at the center. And Misty's like, you can't blame him. He thought we weren't going to come back. But
where was Nurse Joy in this? What did she do? She just yawns.
I'm talking about. She's yawning. She's sleeping. She is off her game.
She clocked back out.
So I like it because Pikachu, I don't want her want Pikachu to stay with that bad Nurse Joy, but like poor Pikachu had to, like, I could picture like the person in the hospital gown, like, you know, falling down and out of their hospital bed and then walking out of the hospital and leaving. Like, poor Pikachu is just like stumbling to the door of the Pokemon Center and then finds his way to catch up with Ash and says, look, you know, you could come with us, but you have to take it easy. And of course, Pikachu gets excited for a second, a little bit too excited when he jumps into Ash's arms, gives him another nice shock present.
Right after that, they come to see Officer Jenny on the phone, and it's like, isn't the power dead? And there's a light on and everything. So it's like the power's out, but she's fully powered up at her little police booth.
There's a lot of times in this episode where you have to just let it go and remember, okay, this is a kid's show, but there's always that parallel where you have the, you know, the underlying
so critical
kid's moral, exactly, and then you have the adult approach to it. So now, watching this episode with my son, the pacing and all the plot holes flew right over his head, didn't make one difference. And I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't line up. So the second time I watched the episode, I was like, look, I'm going to put all that stuff behind me. I'm not going to get hung up on all the plot holes that are on here. I'm just going to let them move the story along. And as long as you keep that approach to this episode specifically, you'll be just fine, because there's a lot of times where you could be like, wait, this doesn't really make sense. You just got to go with the flow. But yeah, this was one of those moments where the whole town is out of power, but for whatever reason, Officer Jenny's all good.
Yeah, she's like, oh, the phones aren't working. Like, okay. So the team decides to go to the power plant to check things out. It cuts to Team Rocket in an alleyway, recovering from almost drowning.
Yeah, there's like an open manhole cover.
And James, says he's like, oh, I can relate to failure, which is absolutely hilarious. They see Ash and the gang run past the open alleyway, and Meowth gets this insane daydream where he's in a Nurse Joy outfit, and he's stating that he's like, oh, we have another chance to capture Pikachu.
So again, this is like Meowth. He's acting different in this episode. He seems like he's really the one in charge, but this little animation sequence where he's daydreaming and he's wearing the nurse's outfit, it is kind of weird because he's got like this big syringe in his hand for no reason. He's like, we got another chance. Like if he's about to inject Jesse and James with some kind of like super drug to get them motivated again because they just almost died drowning in sewage.
And he's got another secret weapon that, quote unquote, is Meowth proof.
Exactly. So that's now we have the hook. So they first were making their way to the Pokemon Center. The power's out at the Pokemon Center. Now they're at the power plant. All this stuff is happening. And again, even though Meowth and Team Rocket have been underground, they're still finding out ways to keep tabs on where Ash is and, more importantly, where Pikachu is.
The team finally gets to the power plant, and while walking in the dark, unlit halls, Misty hears something behind her.
She gets all freaked out.
Ash is like, stop being such a chicken. And just as Ash is calling her out, Brock and Ash hear it. And then Ash, being, trying to be calm and confident, he's like, come out if you're a monster.
Stay where you are.
Yeah, if you're a monster, stay where you are. Sorry, I tried to make a voice and that didn't work.
But that's when Misty jumps in. She's like, you're calling me a coward, and you're actually calling out to the monsters saying, stay where you're at because I don't want to deal with you. Like, you're the chicken, you're the coward. So it's good to see Misty kind of stand up for herself. But they're all getting freaked out where they're noticing movements, and, this is like the effect of, when you watch like one of those ghost hunting TV shows where it's like everyone's kind of getting uneasy and, they're getting very jumpy and, everything they hear, they get all freaked out. But they're kind of seeing shadows dance around. They're seeing things happen. And ultimately, it ends up coming forward, and it's a Magnemite. So Ash whips out the Pokedex, scans it. He's really excited that he's seeing this. But this Magnemite is doing this interesting floating pattern around Pikachu. So it's kind of very strange. Like, he's not trying to battle them or fight them or hurt them or anything like that. But you see this Magnemite kind of floating around Pikachu in a very odd way, and Pikachu kind of gets freaked out a bit.
And the Dex talks about it's like its means of floating are unknown. So, I mean, it's a magnet, so, it's got to have pull to the earth. But hey, that's just me.
Well, I think this is the first inorganic Pokemon, right, that we see in the series. I don't think.
Oh yeah, because Brock mentions it's inorganic.
Right. So it's pretty interesting that they talked about death earlier, right? And now, which is a heavy subject for kids, and now they're starting to talk about, like, what the heck is going on between Magnemite and Pikachu. And Brock is like, wait a second, what if Magnemite has feelings for Pikachu and just kind of like fell in love with Pikachu, and it's, mesmerized by Pikachu and it's so in love, and that's why it's doing this, like, dance around Pikachu. And Ash is like, this is so ridiculous. Ash is like, well, wait a second, what is he being, like a streaker? And Brock's like, I think you mean a stalker. And so it's funny because it kind of brings you back, and it's like, all right, these are kids dealing with bigger issues, and they're kind of confused about. I really like how they threw that little comic relief in, because they talked about death, now they talk about love, and they had to break the kind of seriousness and remind everyone that, like, hey, this is still a kid's cartoon. Like, it's not a streaker, Ash. It's a stalker. So I really like that part, because it kind of...
The reaction is priceless.
It kind of rebalances, where the actual, the headspace of the episode is. But while all this kind of, like, little ritualistic thing is going on between Pikachu and Magnemite, the team kind of smells something disgusting. And then, now, remember, Team Rocket was just in the sewer, so we were already talking about the sewer. We know that there was a pack of Grimers that clogged up the hydroelectric grate, and all of a sudden you see this, I think they come from the ceiling, right? There's like a ceiling panel that kind of opens up, and all these Grimers just start pouring out. And there's tons of them, and it's awesome. I love the animation here. I think it's really cool. But as these things come down, they smell like sewage. They smell disgusting. So everyone's kind of like putting their hands over their noses, and they're like totally choked out, and like, this is disgusting. But there's a ton of them, and clearly they're aggressive and they're in trouble at this point. And, Brock's like, don't say anything to upset them. Misty's like, I don't care. They stink. She's trying not to curse.
Well, Ash said they stink, and then, like, all the mucks got, like, upset. And then as soon as Misty said it, you can see a muck in the background.
And it's giant. Like, she's like, their grandpa?
Is that Grimer's grandpa? Grandpa.
And the muck is cool. He pulls out the Pokedex again, and, it talks about muck and how, powerful they are, and how, be careful because they're poison type. And it's cool starting to see all these different Pokemon, just putting eyeballs on them in the episode, and seeing how they are animated, and seeing the sounds that they make and the calls that they make. It's just, I don't know, when I saw Muck, I was like, yes, this is so awesome. Like, I just, Pokemon Go has brought me back, and now seeing them in action here, just nostalgia city. It was awesome.
And then right after Misty says they stink, all of the Muck and the Grimer start chasing them. And as they're running away, they end up turning down the hall and bumping into some plant workers, which lead them to the control room.
Now, mind you, these are the only two people they've seen in the entire city since the beginning of the episode. But let's move on. Let's not think that that's a weird thing. So continue.
And then here, Brock, he's holding the door from the sludge monsters. Okay, Grimers. Ash explained, he's explaining to the workers that if they don't get the power back soon, all the Pokemon at the center will die. Yes, die.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, they're not afraid to, they're not afraid to revisit these issues. And I particularly like this scene and the way they animate this, because you see Muck kind of standing behind this giant pack of Grimers, and he's pointing his finger out towards the door, and he's like commanding orders. And you see, like, these Grimer jumping and bashing their heads into this door, like, with reckless abandon, kind of like
they're using headbutt.
Yeah, it's like almost like a zombie scene. They're just like one after another, like mindlessly just banging into this door, and poor Brock is trying to brace this thing from the inside. But it's a very aggressive scene. I thought it was really cool.
And so, like, the workers start explaining that they can't get the power back on until all the Grimers move away from blocking the water, because it's a hydro plant. So then the workers notice the team. They're like, hey, you're all trainers. Will you help us? And then the Grimers, at this moment, like, bust through the door.
Even everyone kind of tried to brace the door at the last second, but They just couldn't hold it, and this swarm of Grimers just pours in. And another one of those little peculiar moments happens where the workers are like, hey, you guys are Pokemon trainers, right? You're going to have to use your Pokemon. That's the only way we're going to be able to survive this. And now we have another one of those weird inconsistencies. Like, what did you think of this part?
Dude, I literally was just like, are you kidding me? Brock, Misty, pull out your Pokemon.
The workers are like, you guys have to use your Pokemon. And Ash goes, look, Pikachu doesn't feel well, but Pikachu, you're going to have to step up. You're our only hope. You have to do this for us. And it's like, wait a second. Don't they have like 12 Pokemon between them?
Yeah. Staryu, Starmie, Psyduck, Geodude, Onix.
Vulpix,
yeah. That would, I don't know if that would be super effective.
But still, there's plenty of Pokemon,
Squirtle.
but they frame the whole scene out like Pikachu, you're our only hope. You're our only option. And poor Pikachu's still feeling like crap, and they still don't know why he's feeling like this. But he puts, gathers his energy and puts out this one, Thunderbolt that it's a direct hit on a Grimer, and the Grimer kind of fizzles away. But when this one Grimer goes down, it's just replaced by like 3 or 4 more. Like they're still just pouring into the room, and within seconds they're kind of completely overrun.
And then what pops from the ceiling? Magnemite and Magnetons.
Yep, they pull out the decks again. He gets the reading on the Magneton saying that this is the evolved form, and they just start pouring in. So just like the Grimers were just, coming in one after another, now all the Magnemite and Magneton are kind of coming down through this panel in the ceiling that they broke through, and it's kind of like a standoff. I really like this part too, because there's some cool animation, and you see, I think Brock is the one that even calls it out, and he's like, wait, they must be cousins or friends of our stalker. Like, so they do a little callback to the stalker line. But
yep.
There's probably 30 or 40 of them that come into this room. They make it clear that they're on the side of Ash and them, and they're here to protect, and they're willing to get in between the wall of Grimers that's approaching and, the humans and Pikachu, which is really cool. They just kind of go for it.
And they just start blasting them away. They scare all the Grimers away, which leaves just Muck.
Right.
But the love Magnemite is helping Pikachu, and so together they use combined forces to Thunderbolt or Thundershock Muck into submission.
And I liked how they animated this part too, because you see them, all the electricity coming off of Magnemite and coming off of Pikachu, but they kind of combine the electricity in midair, and you just see like these giant bolts and arcs of electricity just nailing this Muck, just kind of cooking it.
And he is just done for. And so, Ash being Ash, turns his cap, signature move, throws the ball, catches Muck, and adds him to his roster.
And he's like, yeah, I caught Muck, goes through the whole thing, and immediately you see the workers from the plant, Brock and Misty, kind of laughing and choking a little bit, because apparently even the Pokeball itself could not contain the smell of Muck, and it still smells like crap through the Pokeball.
That would be awful.
So this is almost like a soft ending to the show at this point, because you're like, okay, they're safe in the room, but what's going to happen? And as all these Grimers are getting chased out, and he catches the Muck, the main group of all these Magneton and Magnemite make their way to the that drainage grate where the water's coming in to power the actual plant, and you just see bolts of electricity flying through, and all the Grimer just scatter and free up the grate, and all the water begins pouring in, the turbine starts spinning, all the power comes on, and you're like, great! Everything's good. Ash has got a Muck. The power is back on. The Pokemon in the Pokemon Center aren't going to die. Yes! Where's the narrator? Where can we move on? But we forgot about Team Rocket, and then they show their heads again, which is great.
Well, it shows Pikachu, and it's like he's back to normal.
Oh, yeah.
And then it immediately cuts to Team Rocket, and they enter the scene from the water, the gross water, the sludge, in a giant, awkward-shaped Gyarados ship.
It's like a Gyarados sub.
Yeah, and it's mounted with a giant magnet, and they're aiming to attract Pikachu, which takes a turn in the wrong direction because Ash and the gang don't even notice, it just attracts all of the Magnemite magnetons, which makes them so heavy that they just like sink back into the water.
It's
the most
so
ridiculous,
funny.
like little cutscene ever.
But it's because it shows like they turn this giant, and it's one of the cartoon like horseshoe magnets, this giant thing attached to this Gyarados sub. And as they turn it on, you know, one by one, the Magnemites and Magneton are like slamming into it, you know, so they're hearing this metal on metal clanging, and they're like, wait a second. This does not sound like Pikachu, you know, because they've come to the realization too that Pikachu is magnetized because he's got all this electricity built up, that's how they're gonna, you know, use the polarity from the magnet to capture Pikachu. This was their, you know, Meowth-proof grand plot. And it backfires because all this metal, all the Magnemites are there. So they all just, it ends up being like twice the size of the submarine, this giant ball of Magnemite and Magneton. And that's what pushes them underwater. And I think they even say that they're, instead of blasting off again, they're splashing off again. And it just completely sinks them into the bottom of the ocean. It's really, really funny.
Yeah, and so this is the end of it. This is where the moral of the story comes out.
Right. Very clearly, too.
Yeah, they're like, the team suggests that, you know, Officer Jenny and the workers and Nurse Joy, you know, apparently the only people who live in Grime City.
There's only 3 people, four
Gringy.
people in the entire city.
That, you know, the water's polluted and they need to clean up their act and the ocean. And so that's like the moral of the story.
And they're like, okay, guys, you've inspired us, you know, and I think Nurse Joy is like, Ash, you've worked so hard to do all this, you know, you've inspired me to become a better nurse. And then Misty starts waxing intellectual, like, you guys gotta get your act together. Like, you need to clean this place up. Like, and clean your seas up too. Your water's nasty. Like, and she's just like letting them have it, and they're okay with it. They're like, all right, guys, you got it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna clean this up. We're making a change for the better. And it's just funny because they kind of come in with this bossy attitude, but then everyone's agreeing, and they're like, the narrator comes on, and the closing narrator.
This is my favorite part.
It's almost like a PSA. It's like,
so Ash sends Professor Oak his muck, and Oak's all kinds of excited to see what he's like. Ooh, what did Ash send me today? And then he receives it and shoots it out, and it's a muck. And so he goes, yuck, what's the idea of sending me a muck? like poetry with Professor Oak.
But I thought it was very fitting, though, because he was so excited to finally be getting something from Ash, and then Ash, like, does this, and he's like, what's the big idea? Sending me a muck.
He completely trolled him. That's the best way to put it.
But the narrator comes on after that and says, look, you know, that Ash continues on their journey, again, not really saying where they're going next. But it's like I said, it's like a PSA. They're saying they've made an impact on, you know, Gringy Town, where, you know, with their help, they can make the world a better place and a greener place. Like, it's really funny how they close it out. It's so cheesy and so campy. And you're like, all right, this was a cool episode. All this stuff happened. There's great battle sequences. They got a muck. All this was going on, but like, what was the real purpose of this episode? Like, does it really fit in the story arc? And I'm like, I don't care. It was such a fun episode. It doesn't matter that this episode could probably be plucked out of the timeline and put anywhere else. Like, it didn't seem.
I think the past couple episodes could have been like that.
Kind of, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. They gotta get back on track, back to the gym pattern. Because they're just having all these little one-off episodes where they're fleshing out the characters, they're fleshing out the rosters, but when are we going to get back more league action? You know what I mean? Like, it's been weeks.
I know, right?
It's been
What's
weeks.
the next badge? I need the badge. Gotta get them all.
But what did you think of the episode, you know, at large? I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of it. What did you think?
At large, it was hilarious. There were a lot of good cracks in there. Yeah, just all around a really great show.
Yeah, it was really fun. I had a good time with it. I liked the animation of the big battles. So it was cool seeing, like, the group of Grimer being led by my muck, and it was cool seeing all the Magnemite and Magneton working together. I really enjoyed it. And, you know what we didn't talk about was the kind of the way the closure for Pikachu and Magnemite, where the workers in the power plant they identify that Pikachu is now all of a sudden feeling better. And they say, oh yeah, that's because, you know, these rodent Pokemon, if they build up too much electricity inside of them, you know, they can start getting symptoms like they have a cold. So apparently after this giant blast off of electricity to take out this muck when he was kind of Pikachu was working with Magnemite, kind of cleared the pipes out a little bit and Pikachu started feeling better. So they say when they have all this electricity built up, they actually become magnetized because all this electricity is packed in, inside the Pikachu. Now, since Pikachu had this big discharge and did this big attack and lost its magnet, it's no longer magnetic, the Magnemite kind of immediately loses interest in Pikachu, and Brock's like, oh yeah, Pokemon are attracted to other Pokemon based on smell, on the scent. But the inorganic Pokemon, because it's magnetic, it's looking for, something in a partner to be magnetic. So because Pikachu had all this electricity and was magnetized, that's why the Magnemite was attracted to Pikachu. So again, another heavy issue. And I think this kind of plays into where it's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside. And what Magnemite thought was on the inside of Pikachu was this magnetism wasn't really there. And once it learned that, it moved on. So I thought that was kind of a cool aspect of the way they're telling a story here. So even though there was not a clear perspective from the parallel from the adult perspective, they hit on some really heavy topics. And I thought they delivered them in an easy way for a kid to kind of get in and get out and understand death and understand love and understand, all that kind of morality with decision making. I don't know. I thought that was a cool thing. I look at it from that kind of cheesy angle a lot because I enjoy the morality of what Pokemon is all about.
And here I am just focusing on like the Ash trolling Professor Oak and
sending him a smelly Pokemon.
And the gang trolling Pikachu, essentially, hey Pikachu, you're only a hope. We know you don't feel good, but just you have to do it.
Yeah,
I still don't get that.
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest part of the episode to look past because
I can't look past it.
Why would they make it seem like that? Like, why would they not bring out any other Pokemon? I don't know. Just got to look past it. I guess just one of those things. Just got to be a sympathizer for the writers on this episode. But listen. If you played the TCG, you know what these sounds are. It's booster time. I've had this booster for 2 weeks, like with the top slit open, like ready to go. So I'm excited to finally dig into this. I have a Burning Shadows booster.
As do I.
And let's see what we got. All right. Seviper, Trainer Lana, Trainer Tormenting Spray, Ralts, Inkay, Dewpider, Tangela, Hoot Hoot. My reverse is Raichu, and my rare is Tangrowth, non-hollow. But that has some awesome art. So I really like
Tangrowth. Does he have like Giga Drain or Mega Drain or something like that?
Giga Drain. It is a 1 energy attack. Heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. And it's a 30 damage attack. So, you put some modifiers on there. And that can be increased with
Professor Kuiku, whatever how he's pronounced that.
Kukui, yeah, that's another 20. Yep.
And Choice Band.
Choice Band gives you another 10 damage?
No, Choice Band gives you 30. 30 EX or GX.
Your choice is 30. So
you can hit for 60 and heal 60.
Yeah, solid. Yay, good cards. All right, you go. What you get?
So, I've got a Porygon, a Charmander, a Morlo, an Esper, a Duskull, a Porygon 2, a Weakness Policy Trainer, a Simisage, and my reverse holo is a Rotom Dex.
Nice.
And my rare holo is a Lucario.
Yay! You got a holo.
Yeah, I love seeing all these cards because I still don't have... I haven't seen the whole set, so... This is a new card for me. I don't actually know what it does. When you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that's good if they don't Guzma you.
What, so if you could stay in play, you mean?
Yeah. You just can't do anything to it, essentially.
Nice. All right, so we got some good cards.
Attack it, yeah.
Well, yeah.
You can't attack it. It's a Lucario, man.
But that's it, man. That's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for everyone. Let's do a couple little housekeeping things real quick. I want to say very special thanks to the musicians that provide our intro and outro music. Grimecraft provides our intro music. He does a lot of Pokemon remixes. Got some really cool stuff out there. His links will be in the description. Chippercrit provides our outro music. This guy is super talented, plays a lot of instruments, and does a lot of this stuff live. There's some really cool live videos of him performing chiptune with guitar and all these effects pedals and Game Boys and stuff. Check that out.
I saw him live. He's wonderful.
It's really cool. I'm working on going to MagFest next January, which is a video game and music festival in Maryland that they do. They have a big, strong chiptune scene there, and they do pretty much concerts 24 hours a day. There's just people always playing.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. But thanks so much, guys, for the music. I know we get a lot of feedback on people enjoying the theme songs that we use. So definitely check out the artists and support them through social media. Big shout to Seth Hay for providing our creative artwork. He designed our original logo, so thanks so much. Check out SethHay.com for all the stuff that he does. And that's pretty much it, man. Stay tuned for Lured Up episode 2 coming in a couple weeks. We'll put that up all over social media. You can find everything about the show at gottawatchemall.com. I just did a couple little tweaks and updates to the site. I'm going to try to get this site fully fleshed out and built over the next few weeks. So check that out and stay posted on all of our news and social media kind of packed into one place. But otherwise, we're going to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Please like, follow, subscribe wherever you can. Stay up to date with us. I streamed some Pokemon Go on Twitch this past week. We have a new screen recorder app that we both have. So that was a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing some more of that. So if you want to see some Pokemon Go streaming action, definitely check out our Twitch and YouTube channels. And you can find me personally at ProudGamerTweet on Twitter. Adam, where can they find you?
At PhoenixBack4Fire on Twitter.
Yay! That's a show. Woo! Woo! All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Kukui, Grimer, Muck. Dude, Alolan Muck is so awesome.
Dude, so I went to a league challenge. I went 2-1, and I got 3rd place. I know this is like random, but I bought 2 Alolan Muck GXs for $1.70. I was like, yeah, I'll buy that.
Nice.
It's cheaper than a pack, and I'm guaranteed a GX.
Yeah, but the colors are awesome. It's like rainbow goopiness. It's good stuff.
I love it. I wonder if he smells as bad as, this Muck. That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Does it still smell that bad? Because Hawaiian trash or Alolan trash might be a little less smelly. Just saying.
So we'll leave you with that. Does Alolan Muck smell just as bad as standard Muck?
Tweet us.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know what you think Alolan Muck smells like. But other than that, guys, we will see everyone next week. Stay tuned for other stuff that we have going on with the channel. We're working on getting a Pokemon Go vlog set up going. And we'll probably see some more streams coming. So thank you so much for all the support. Leave us a review on iTunes if you get a chance. That helps us greatly. But other than that, we're done plugging. Thank you so much. We'll see everyone next week. That's a show.
Thank you.